Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk about a very intriguing fight, all domestic British matchup that's coming up this Saturday, and it is between Joshua Buatsi, the former Matchroom, now Sky golden child, future of boxing, face of boxing, or whatever it was that Ben Shalom described him and Lawrence Okoli as being. How's that going? And he's facing Dan Azeez, and you could not have a more contrasting couple. I mean, I think this is fascinating stuff. It really is, because there is an old saying. Let me see if I can get it right now. An older adage: when talent doesn't work hard, working hard beats talent, or something like that. You understand what I mean? And if ever there is someone who is going to ask questions of you, no matter how talented you are, it is Dan Azeez, because he works like a Trojan horse. I've got nothing but respect for this guy, Azeez. He comes across as being a nice guy out of the ring, and his achievements inside the ring cannot be overlooked. He is currently 20-0, no defeats, no draws. 13 of those 20 wins are by knockout or stoppage. He's 34 years of age, but if you want to talk about having an Indian summer of a career and maximising your talent, I mean, this guy's got it going on, because you've only got to go back to July 2019, not that far, not 1919, July 2019, and he picked up the first of his titles, which was the Southern Area title. Like I say, July 2019. I'm trying to remember who he won it off. Charlie Duffield, I think it was. He stopped him in six rounds, something like that. Mid rounds, anyway. And that was his. People were like, yeah, great, great. And then next up was the English title. That was later in the year, actually, same year, 2019. He won a decision over Lawrence Osueke, African name, I've no doubt mispronounced it, but at the time, Osueke, if that's how you pronounce it, was undefeated in 10. I think he had a draw in there, but no defeats, and that was a decision win. So he's got the area, and he's won the English title. He then defended the English title with a 9th round stoppage over Andre Sterling. He then moved up and won. In fact, I think he defended the English title more than once, if memory serves, but I'll have to check on that. He then moved up in 2021 and beat Hosea Burton for the British light heavyweight title, which at the time was vacant. He stopped Burton in 7 rounds, and it was a big win. He more or less his coming out party. Has he won the Commonwealth title? I can't remember whether he's won the Commonwealth title. Yes, he has. He has won the title. Yeah, he has won the Commonwealth title, because that was a vacant belt when he fought Rocky Fielding, and that was in 2022. The British was on the line, and then the vacant Commonwealth was on the line. Okay, so he beat Rocky Fielding, stopped him in 8. So he's picking up some knockouts here as well over, half decent men. And then, just to put a little cherry on the top, what's left? Oh yeah, the EBU. Let's go over to France. Beat Thomas Farah. Stopped him in 12 rounds. So proving that he can grind it out late, of course. And picks up the EBU title. So in the space of 4 years, just over 4 years, he's picked up the area, the English, the British, the Commonwealth, and the EBU, the European. 5 belts in 4 years and a bit. I mean, that is a guy. He idolises Marvin Hagler, Azeez does, and this is exactly the type of career that Marvin Hagler had. I know I'm not comparing him on a par with Hagler in talent-wise. No. I'm saying he's taken a leaf out of the philosophy, the ethos of Marvin Hagler. Maximise your talent by working hard, by giving it large, by not cutting corners. Which is why at 34, even if he didn't throw another punch, he can look back on his career and say, I won 5 titles up to European level. Now, if you go back to 2019 again, would you have ever given him a chance to beat Joshua Buatsi, who turned pro with Matchroom and was an Olympic medalist, bronze I think it was? I don't follow the amateur game particularly resolutely, but even I knew that Buatsi was a very highly touted amateur, and he looked the part initially. I mean, he's had some very impressive wins, and again, it's not necessarily just who you're beating, it's how you're getting your work done. and he was just swatting people. I mean, I remember him doing Quinlan, the Australian fella, in a round, and it was almost so effortless. And Quinlan's, no one's going to mistake him for being a world class killer, but he got Marco Antonio Periban out of there in 4 rounds, and that again Periban had seen better, and he was mixing things up. He knocked out Ryan Ford, I think, with a body shot. So he was doing well, and he beat a guy called Marco Kalik, who was he had a pretty decent amateur career, I think, and he was unbeaten in 11 rounds, and Buatsi knocked him out in 7, which I think that's quite an underrated victory. But then things started to sort of sag a bit, and he went the distance with Craig Richards. I think Richards is a very good fighter, fringe world level probably. Did well against Bivol, as we know, although he didn't win that many rounds. But a good fighter, certainly, very durable, very crafty, a lot of skills. He also stopped Ricard Bolotniks in 11 rounds, and he was, these were decent fights. But then he jumped ship from Matchroom to Sky, as we know, along with Lawrence Okoli, and he took on Pavel Stepien, won a unanimous 10-round decision, and he looked awful. He looked absolutely terrible, and that was his first fight in a year, so you can blame a bit on ring rust. But you would have thought that he would slap Dan Azeez around the ring willy-nilly at will several years ago. Now, with all that's gone on, with moving to Sky, with all the uncertainty of it, it just seems that he kind of, Buatsi has kind of lost some momentum. And although Azeez is 34, Buatsi's 30, so you would think he's in his prime. He should really be making strides now when you consider how the career trajectory it's gone up. But then it's sort of dipped and it's gradually going down a bit. He needs this win over a domestic rival, and he needs it to look impressive as well. But you have to ask, shouldn't he be fighting for a world title? Why is he fighting a domestic rival? The whole Sky Boxer thing, I mean, it's not working out, is it, for not just for Buatsi but and Okoli, but I think for a few other fighters as well. They just don't seem to. They make strange decisions, pulling people out of purse bids, as we know. Riakpur against Obataia was one, and I thought Buatsi would have been pursuing Anthony Yard, or maybe even world honours, or someone who's got a world belt, not jumping down levels, theoretically down levels, and certainly in terms of your profile down levels, and fighting a Dan Azeez. So this is definitely a step back. I think psychologically it might be a step back for Buatsi as well. Whereas for Azeez, all his Christmases have come early. This is a fantastic opportunity. Now, who's going to win? Well, clearly Buatsi has far more natural talent in his pomp. He was, lovely flowing punches, nice combinations, every punch in the book. Always looked very, very relaxed, very fluid, and Azeez is a come-forward marauder. But Azeez has a great gas tank on him. And there have been occasions when Buatsi, I wouldn't say he looks like his gas tank's getting low, but he seems to sort of switch off, or there is some sort of dip in his concentration, or maybe it's a frustration. In the ring a few times he's been a bit sort of leery about incidents that happen, almost like his temper's getting quite frayed. And you know what they say, you need to keep your control of your emotions in the ring. And Buatsi, for someone who has appeared in the past when he's at his best to be very cold-blooded, there is a feeling that he might just, not be able to maintain that concentration and maintain the imagination of what to do, what, when, over a 12-round period against someone who's constantly in his face, constantly forcing forward, constantly saying, yeah, you got that? Here's what I got. Oh, yeah, okay, you hit me. I'll have one back. It's a mental pressure that requires a very, very high level of concentration. And I see this as being a really intriguing fight, because although for 6 rounds I expect Buatsi to pull ahead, maybe even the first 8 rounds, I think in the last third of the fight, Dan Azeez is still going to be there, still going to be asking questions, still going to be going forward, still going to be putting that mental and physical pressure on Buatsi. It wouldn't surprise me if he ground Buatsi down in the final third of the fight to pick up a points win. Now, I'm tempted, this is a really difficult one to pick, but I fully expect this to go the distance. I don't think Buatsi knocks out Azeez, and I think it's more likely that Azeez stops Buatsi very late. It's possible Buatsi could get a decision, and it would be controversial. I wouldn't be surprised if this was split decision or majority decision. But do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let my heart rule my head. And you can all insult me afterwards and blow, internet raspberries at me. I don't care. I'm going to say that Dan Azeez will win a very, very close decision over Joshua Buatsi. 115, 113. Split decision probably, majority decision maybe. I wouldn't even rule out a draw. But I'm going to let my heart rule my head. That's my opinion. My pick is Dan Azeez to beat Joshua Buatsi on a very close decision by pulling away in the last third of the fight, maybe the last 5 rounds, that sort of thing. Anyway, let me know what you think. Comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Leave your comments as long as you're respectful. You don't have to agree with me. This ain't an echo chamber. I want your honest opinions. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for your time as always, and we will speak again soon. And hit the like button as well. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Bye for now.